By the time them cars get there, I might as well go this way. They're gonna take so long to let me in. Might as well just go the other way. That was close. That was close. That was close. I almost didn't get a phone bill paid in time. Now the gas light comes on. Well, I worked for a long time, and I bought land, and I bought a bunch of fruit trees, and then I just kept buying fruit trees, thousands of dollars of fruit trees, and so it took more and more time to take care of them and water them. And because I want to build a business with a fruit orchard, and chickens, bees, I got all that stuff. And it got to the point to where if I didn't get more time to water my trees and take care of my trees, I was going to lose my investment. And so I took a break because I got this confidence. I don't have this fear that I used to have. I remember when my first job was at a chicken farm, and I didn't know. I never had a job before, so I was like, am I going to be able to do this? I was real nervous. And I get in there and I learn how to do it. No problem. And my second job, I went to go work at Kroger, become a dairy manager in Dawsonville. And I was like, I was able to do that last job. I could probably do this one, but I was a little nervous. I picked up on it. I learned how to do it. And I had it pretty good there. I had 401k. I got raises. The economy was better back then. Until 2 years later, there was the 2008 market crash, and there was nothing wrong with the job. I loved my job. But my grandparents were dying on my daddy's side of the family, and I missed my brothers, and I moved back to Wheeler County to be closer to my family. And so when I moved to Wheeler County, I had a couple $1,000 saved up. And I was just like, I didn't know where I was going to work. I didn't have a job lined up, but I knew I'd find something. And I took the first job I found, which wasn't a great job. It was bagging at Piggly Wiggly. But it was enough. It was enough money until I found a better job. And then I got a job at Husqvarna and started making lawnmowers. And I loved that job. I got really good at it. And I got me a second job, a secret second job that I can't talk about. That involved more risk. That was fun, very fun, too fun. And that led me to, so anyway, after working in a chicken farm, working at grocery stores, working at a factory building lawnmowers, I realized I can do anything. Like any job, I can just go to a job and I'll learn how to do it and it'll be okay. There wasn't the nervousness that was there when I was a teenager at my first job. So I never really worried too much. I knew that, then I worked in pine straw, every bit of pine straw. I worked at baling pine straw, raking it, baling it. I worked at spreading pine straw with landscaping, and I worked at selling pine straw and unloading pine straw for landscapers. I worked in Pine Straw for a while. And then I went to work after that. What did I do after the Pine Straw? I got my foot run over by a lawnmower because I was backing over some small little patch of grass and tripped over and almost all the way buried a post that was laying across the dirt. And when I fell, you know, your instinct is to hold on to what you're holding on to, not to let go. So the lawnmower got pulled over on my foot, and then I couldn't walk. I couldn't keep my balance. I'd fall over. I broke my big toe. Yeah, you know, I broke my big toe in 2 or 3 places, and the one beside it, the third one over was fractured. The top of my foot was cut open. And it took a while to heal up and recover and all to where I could work again. And then I went back to Pine Straw, but then I helped. My mama was doing her hair shop, and she had Gracie was real young. She's a little baby. And she didn't really need to be up there with the perms and all the chemicals and stuff. So I don't know if it's for like a year. I babysat my baby sister. And then I went to work at J&K Creation for about 8 years. Scooping concrete and all that. And at that time I was making $140 a week payments to buy the land. And I think I paid on that for about 6 years. And I'd been working, I think, about 2 years before that, and about a year after that, or something like that. Maybe not quite a year after that. Then and while I was at J&K, once I had my land payments paid off, I began to, I always kind of just scraped by. I'd spend about $200 a week in asset investments. And you know, a lot of people, they'll buy all kind of entertainment and all kind of toys and all kind of shoes. I would invest $200 in building my degree, and then eventually that become enough work that it was kind of hard to balance that in my job at All Pro. It was really hard to do both because I only got so much strength. I only got so much in me, where it was hard for me to go to work at All Pro, get off of All Pro, go work on my farm, and not be so give out and so tired that I still wake up early enough in the morning and all. And I felt like I couldn't really do the best. And I didn't want to lose all my thousands of dollars in investments in fruit trees and bees and chickens and all this I was doing. So I give up All Pro. I said I'm going to chance it, and I'm 38 right now, and I'm like, I'm going to really give this a shot at building my own business. And Brittany is working for my mama at the restaurant, so we had money coming in there, and I took a couple months to catch up on all the work that had kind of fell behind on my farm. And then I was going to go back. My plan is to go back and get a part-time job, not a full-time job, somewhere where I still got time to work on my farm. And I got a little more money for paying bills and not putting much of a stress on Brittany, you know. And a lot of people think the worst of it now. They're like, your woman's working, you're not working, you sorry, whatever. But my muscles hurt every day. I work hard every day. I just went to go pay a bill, going back to the farm to do more work. The rain just stopped. And I guess they assume that since I'm not employed for someone else, that I'm just sitting on my ass not doing anything while my woman's working. And really, it's none of their business. They don't really know what's going on. They don't know what I've done for Brittany or what Brittany's done for me. They don't know what I got going on. And people have doubted me my whole life. Like the whole time I had people, I didn't tell people, I used to tell people too much about what I was doing. And if you want to be successful, don't tell people your plans all the time, because you have secret enemies that will try to sabotage you and you don't even know it. You'll have people that are jealous of you that you don't even know are jealous of you. There'll be people who are your friends until you're doing better than they're doing. And then they get mad at you. You don't even know they're mad at you yet. You still think they're your friend, and then they work to sabotage you. So I learned, don't tell everybody what I'm doing. So I ain't gonna mention their names, but I had people that was really always thought somebody was worried about Paul, and he, they thought that I was not gonna get nowhere in life. And they did not know that I was making land payments. They did not know the stocks I was buying. They didn't know the gold I was buying. They didn't know the silver I was buying. They didn't know the skills I was learning. They did not know my plan, and they did not know how everything was working together. I learned how to be a beekeeper in 2006. This gave me the skills to know how to, I don't have to pay anybody for their bees to pollinate my blueberries or my fruit trees. I'm a beekeeper. I went to learning about, I spent a lot of time learning all kinds of different skills that can combine to build my own business. And for all of my life, until I was in a relationship and I got off of work, I would work for myself on the side, and then I would spend hours and hours just educating myself. And so I've had, 20 years of preparation to do what I'm about to do. And the people who are worried about me, the people who talk shit about me, they don't know that. They don't know what I'm capable of, and they don't know what I know how to do. I can go out there right now in my woods, and I can build a bow and arrow. I can build a clay pot. I can kill a rattlesnake and build a billfold out of it. I know how to build rope. I know how to build string. I know how to do all kinds of things that people don't know I know how to do. I know how to survive in ways people don't know I know how to survive. I have abilities that people don't know I have. And so I had somebody come to me, and they wanted to know my 5-year. They were basically trying to make the point that I didn't have a plan in my life and I wasn't going nowhere. And they wanted to know my 5-year plan, and I just wouldn't tell them anything because I knew better. I did have a plan. I was buying 7 acres of land. They didn't know that. I didn't tell them that. And now it's paid off and I have it. And so, I look back at all the people, not all, there's people talking shit now, but I look at all the people who back in the day thought I wasn't going to go nowhere, thought I wasn't going to be shit, thought I didn't know what I was doing. And I have more than they have. I have more land than they have. I have a better vehicle than they have. I have, it might be a little building, but it's mine. And, I'm doing all right. And I predict that in the next 10 years, I'll be doing a lot better, even more. And let's say I fail at building my own business. Let's say I just absolutely fail. I can go back to being a wage slave like I was before. But sometimes you just got to roll the dice. Sometimes you just got to see. And I started thinking, I'm 38. Let's say I live to be 60, 70, 80, 90, even if I live 100 years. I don't have much time left. And I started thinking, if I don't give this a shot, I'm going to regret it my whole life. And a lot of people said you couldn't make no money in farming, and now food prices are skyrocketing. And I've kept my overhead low. I've kept my debt to zero. I have no debt. People told me you can't do that without debt. People was like, take out a loan and buy land. Take out a loan and do this. Borrow against this, borrow against that. And I just, with discipline, saved money, invested $200 a week for a decade. You know, I was spending $140 a week on land payment. The other $60 I was investing. And then when I didn't have the land payment anymore, I was used to not having that $200. I kept investing $200. And I never paid for internet, except I do have internet on my phone, but I never paid for Wi-Fi. I never paid for satellite. Like, I'm talking about when I left my dad's house, my whole life, when I lived in the trailer, I didn't run the air conditioners. I didn't run the heater. I dealt with the cold. I dealt with the heat. I dealt with eating cheap. I just dealt with doing without to invest in assets so that in the future I'd be set. And then people are going to look back. People are going to say, it's not fair that you have that 7 acres of land. It's not fair. Like, they'll say, I'll grow blueberries, and they'll want them for free. They're like, you got all these chickens, give me one. You got this land, sell me some of it, you know? And I didn't sacrifice all them years to just give it away to people who didn't sacrifice to have it.